Men in sport, a timeless means of entertainment. Some men hit home runs, others are curb stomped. Some win Cy Youngs, others get dunked on. Some men become MVPs, others have 70 saves in a game. But your stats won't matter here. Here we discuss the issues, search the hearts of men, and judge in vivid detail. Only raw takes will do. This is Sports Analysis. This is Sports Unchained. This is Sporticus! Hey guys, Sporticus is all over social media. You can find us on Rockfin. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Anchor, Twitter, and Patreon. All under Sporticus or Sporticus Live. Come holla at us.
After I get done talking and I'm like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't so bad. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like surprise butt sex. If you just do it, it's fine. But if you're just gonna talk about it, I'm gonna get super anxious.
Gotcha.
Oh man, that's comedy gold right there, man.
That is, because it's
I hope
pretty accurate.
Somebody
pretty accurate.
That and actually yeah. What if I segue a career out of that joke?
You might. I mean, you're correct no matter what end of the spectrum you're on. No matter where you are in that spectrum, that is completely true.
That's what I'm saying. I might have just made a fact. I don't even.
It's transcendent of everything we know and love. No, but what we were talking about was the Tyson fights. That's what we're going to call them, the Tyson fights.
Yeah. You didn't care about Roy Jones Jr. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I care, but man, I mean, he was getting knocked out, so. But the biggest thing, like I said, they'll probably be on in the background or something like that. Probably go to a buddy's house or something, and we'll all pitch in to order it. It's like $50. Let's just be for real. All right, if I have to watch that shit at my house, I'm still in it. So, I don't want to do that. It's not something that I'm a fan of. It's not something that I'm trying to do, but I'm not paying 50 fights for them to knock each other out. And which was a crazy part. People were like, oh, these rules are stupid. I'm like, do you not know what an exhibition is? It's preseason.
But
these teams aren't
a charity fight too, so I kind of want to pay for it.
I mean, no, and that's what I'm saying. I'm thoroughly against pirating fights in anything. Pay for it. If you got it, pay for it, but man, that's $50. And that's what I heard. I didn't really look too much into it. So people oh, you didn't cover it. What's there to cover? They're not going to knock each other out. It's not for anything. It's just to kind of be doing.
Well, the cool thing about it too is it's actually a pretty good card from what I understand about boxing.
It is. Besides Nick Robinson being on there.
I'm not even gonna pretend that I know everyone on the card, but there's the Jake Paul guy, and there's another fight that's not that fight, that's a third fight that's pretty good on there. I don't remember what the people were because I'm not.
No, it's not. It's entertaining. It's something to watch. It's definitely something to watch. It's something I'd have on. I don't have any plans other than that. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Well, so, who do you got, Tyson or Jones?
I got Tyson. Power.
Yeah, I got Tyson by accidental murder.
Yeah, it's just He's too strong, man, and he's a lot faster. He's deceptively fast. Like a lot of people are like, oh, Jones can do this and that. That's great, but you also have to remember, like Mike Tyson wasn't in the right state of mind when he was boxing later in his career. Like
Right.
not at all. So he wasn't even anything close to what we were used to seeing. But now that he is, yeah, I wouldn't want to fight him because I bet you he's actually better. You know,
Well, you know
I'm not saying he's as fast or as strong. I'm saying he's smarter, and that's worse.
Well,
Yeah.
there's actual legitimate talk, like depending on how this fight goes, of course, and how he feels. There's legitimate talk about him coming back and fighting professionally, and he's not necessarily refuted that talk, and he was him and Joe Rogan were talking about it, and that's one of the references that I have. There's also stuff that's come out after that that's like, what would it be like, to see him fight Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua or whatever, like maybe even Tyson
That'd be
Fury.
a great fight for him. Deontay Wilder would be.
That'd be a good fight, right? It would
Yeah,
it would
because
honestly.
Wilder can't really box. Like Wilder's not a great boxer. Like
Well,
Tyson Fury would murder him in the ring. He would
here's the
kill him.
thing: if Tyson could withstand the shots, no doubt the know-how's there, the body's there. I think if he could withstand the shots to the head, which I mean, I don't think he has a lot of CTE. It's not like he was ever knocked out all that much in his career.
Right,
Like,
and you got to think about how when he stopped, like he didn't take a lot of damage. Mike Tyson, think about it. He's always sounded exactly the same. He's always, a lot of people think he's kind of, because his speech pattern. People think, oh, he's kind of an idiot. No, not at
well,
all.
no, they think he's a little punchy, but I don't think he's punchy. Like you're saying,
No,
he's
he's always sounded exactly the same. He's the only fighter I've ever heard sound exactly the same. And then maybe like a GSP. And
Floyd Mayweather. He's always been kind of dumb, but he's always been kind of the same too. But he does. He also never gets hit.
Yeah, I'll give it to Floyd. I'll give it to Floyd. He's hard to, like you say, he's kind of hard to pick out because of the other things. But sure.
No,
Let's throw Floyd.
I think he's just an idiot. I don't think he's like affected by any brain damage.
Yeah, and that's hard to say he's an idiot. Think about it. Like, it's hard to say he's an idiot when he's made that much money. And real. And
no, I get it, but like
I know what you mean. He may not be very book smart, but his books look very, very
perfectly fair. Like, kids born with autism or people with Down syndrome, when they grow older, they're always really, really good at like one thing. Now, I'm not saying he has either one of those sorts of ailments, but at the same time, like that's those are two examples of people.
Lloyd, if you're listening, come whoop his ass, not mine. I'll give you his ass and everything.
That's in a professional sense. That's an example of a non-neurotypical, situation. And it's like I don't think everything's firing for Floyd, but I don't think it's because he's been hit too many times. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's like, so come and whip my ass. That's fine. Like, dude, throw your money at my face and beat me to death with it. But that's cool. But like, I'm just
absolutely right.
Say what?
No, you're absolutely right. I was just playing around.
I got
I
you.
didn't want to put him in there because, I just, it was, like I said, it was just harder to pick Floyd out of that because of the conversation we just had. But yes, Floyd as well. But also Floyd doesn't take damage, and he wasn't a heavyweight boxer. Mike Tyson, on the other hand, could have gotten his bell rung, and he could be dumb. He could be like Evander Holyfield. Hey man, like he's taken a lot more damage than Mike Tyson. Let's just say that. A lot of people have. Hell, George Foreman took his damage, but at the same time, not nearly as much as you would think. But it's also. But here's the thing: since we brought that up, George Foreman also boxed again later in his life. And it's when you get out. When you get out early, because Tyson still got out early. And when you think about the fights he didn't take, even before he didn't get out, like Tyson got out early, and he just didn't fight as much as you would think that he did. He didn't. When I say that, like, he got out of fights early. If he knocked you out, he didn't have to fight anymore. Like that, the fight's over. So he does have a pretty good shot, a really good shot actually. I'm going to liken it to another combat sport, as I always do, pro wrestling. If you, if you wrestle a certain way, you'll be able to do it for a long time, like Undertaker and stuff like that. And it's really amazing what an athlete can do if they hold up. You know, you could even say Randy Orton. So,
Yeah.
you know, but like there's other guys who aren't holding up as well as others. Like, you know, Jericho can wrestle, but like he wrestles different now. You know, it's very different. He's not jumping off the top ropes and stuff. He can do that, but like he's not doing it like he used to.
Well, his
But
body,
you know,
his body alone is radically different than it was when I was a kid. And
right.
coming in, like he had that fucking stacked chest and everything. He had like really pronounced abs. Now the guy looks like really flabby and he's in shape. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
Like, what were you taking, man? Like what?
No, it's just the way you just read. Like Jericho's very different. Like he's the GOAT, so he didn't read. No, he is, but he didn't read.
We're not gonna have that talk. I don't know enough about wrestling, but he's not.
No, that's fine. Well, who do you think he's the GOAT is? I'm not gonna go into it. Just who do you think the GOAT?
I'll put it to you this way: Jericho is very good, and he's in the conversation. He's not top 10. Yeah, they're good. There's too many other good wrestlers.
Who? Just name two. Just two. I'm not gonna argue.
Holding the Rock, bruh.
Okay.
Bruh.
I mean,
Undertaker,
you said you didn't know too much about wrestling, so.
Shawn Michaels, like, I mean, like we can go down the list. He's not even top 10. Like he's really good. Like,
you can say.
I would love to bring up like the fact that he was like the first double champ or whatever in wrestling.
Yeah, first undisputed.
Yeah, he was the first. That's what it was called, undisputed. Like he was very good in that sense, and that's awesome. But like other than that, dude, there were so many better champions that were more. Kurt Angle was better. Like
we're speaking of WWE terms though. Like when we say the GOAT, he don't have to be your WWE GOAT. It's tough to not say he isn't because he's won a lot of championships, you know. But that's fine. Like I said, I'm not going because the GOAT wrestling isn't like the GOAT of pro wrestling isn't like MMA.
Right.
It's a very short list in MMA, and we know why and how. Wrestling is very different. You know, The Rock, you can say, well, he had this over Jericho, and like we'll just be talking for millennia over the differences between them. And that's what's so great about it because you can't just say this person's the undisputed GOAT. The reason I'm saying Jericho is the GOAT is because other promotions. Did you do it somewhere else? You know, like, and he was able to do this in ECW and New Japan Wrestling. Then you got AJ Styles that's also up there that's done it in other promotions. So that's where I'm coming from with the GOAT conversation. But when we talk about strictly WWE, like I say, it's a lot of qualifications because my GOATs are like Brock and then Kurt for a lot of reasons. So.
Gotcha.
I mean, but those are guys that have been doing it a long time. And like Kurt Angle didn't take any breaks, right? He didn't take any breaks in between anything. Brock Lesnar worked a certain way. He did take breaks. Brock can go work today. He could go even take a UFC fight today. He'd probably piss hot. But my point is, Brock Lesnar's a guy that's done it right. You know, if you keep your body preserved, hey man, I'm just saying he might probably.
No, because the thing is he would totally piss hot, and you know, even USADA would be like, "It's fine." Like,
yeah,
we'll make this one okay.
Kind of don't blame him because Brock's a proven money draw, and I mean,
everybody wins if Brock Lesnar walks in the octagon. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, and you know what? I get it. They do it if they're gonna do it for John Jones. Why not do it for Brock Lesnar? You do it for your money.
No. If you're gonna do it for
Brock
Lesnar, then why not do it for John Jones? I would say it's the opposite. You know what I mean? Because like,
fine. And they do it for McGregor. I'm sure. I'd be pretty sad if they did it for Conor McGregor. I mean, they don't have to worry about that because he's a different. You know, he's an athlete. He just does it different. He does it way differently than. I really admire the way Conor has gotten himself together. Like he is a true. He's one of those guys and one of those very few that can just bounce in between weights. Like I'm, Donald Cerrone can do it as well. We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but we're just talking about older
I'm
combat
excited
sport.
about that Poirier McGregor fight. I don't care about these ones coming up. Like, I'd have to look at the rest of the cards coming up, but I mean, I'm not excited about the fight nights. I mean, it.
Well,
I'm kind of
I wasn't
excited
excited
about.
about him, and you
That's
were
not
mad at
true.
him.
That's not true. I am excited about the Edwards Kamev one. Like, that's actually not too
Oh,
bad of a fight night card, dude. There's actually some really good
no,
fights on.
that fight alone's great, to be honest. That fight alone,
Oh,
because
for
it's got
sure.
implications for both. Like,
Oh,
because if
let's
Command loses,
let's go
then
let's go there for a second. Number one, we'll start on the card. So the main card is Aldo versus Chito Vera. That's the first card. It's a 6-fight main card. You got Misha Serkinov versus Ryan Spawn. Ryan Spawn's a G. Bantamweight fight between Moraes and Rob Fant. Last time I watched Rob Fant, he was good. He was good. Heavyweight fight between Greg Hardy and Marcin Tiberia. Now, I'm still waiting for Greg Hardy to like lose in like an actual way, not where he beats somebody up the wrong way or because he
right.
like does whatever like that. Like, I want to
But
see
it's
somebody like
Jones
Derek
fight. I
Lewis
know what you mean.
beat his ass. So this guy's 26-6. I know nothing about him. I just want to see him just put a hurting on Greg Hardy, and I'll watch
Do you
Greg
think he's
Hardy.
going to do that?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I don't know anything about him, but I'll watch Greg Hardy fight until it happens for sure.
Yeah.
Even if it
You know,
goes all the way to the top.
now Greg Hardy, he is. It's not like he's not taking fighting seriously. He's doing. Here's the, he
No. I don't want to.
no
I don't
no.
want
But
to away
no,
from.
I know you're not saying that. What I'm getting to is that he's a throwback fighter, as in he's gonna try to get as good as he can at other things while he's doing it. You
What's
know,
the thing?
huh?
What's
Knocking people out.
okay? Because I think he's good at maybe more than one thing. I don't know how to.
I wouldn't say striking. I want to say
Well,
he's good at
not
striking.
striking, but he's incredibly. He's probably the most explosive heavyweight
Yes.
all around
Yes.
because of his
I would go
NFL
crazy.
experience. And that's the thing that makes him so
Even
dangerous.
it's
Is
crazy,
like,
even more so than Nagano, because
oh,
Nagano
absolutely.
has flat feet. He's very flat footed. A lot of people
Yeah,
don't get that, and he
yeah,
can't box. Now
yeah.
Greg Hardy can't box either. However, he can take a punch too. You know,
Well,
he actually can.
you can't necessarily teach NFL level explosiveness. That's like a god
Yes.
gift. You know what I mean?
No,
So
you're right.
like, you can teach explosiveness to a point, but you can't teach NFL level explosiveness. They're too good. So you're putting an NFL level caliber athlete against somebody who's a UFC caliber fighter, and that's, as long as the NFL athlete has proper time to have, some stand up or whatever, there's a real chance that the UFC fighter loses just based on the athleticism, which is a
Yeah.
weird concept because usually the best fighters are the most athletic too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I love that because, like I say, it's a throwback, man. Like, he's a straight up throwback because he's now NFL isn't a martial arts, obviously, but that, like you say, the athleticism is so different. It's not a UFC fighter versus a UFC fighter. It's not a traditional fighter versus traditional fighter. So it's gonna be fun regardless. And like you say, we're gonna be watching it up until Greg Hardy does something or this guy does something to him. The problem is this: when people face Greg Hardy, they're mixed martial artists, and when they come in there, they're disciplined. He is not as disciplined. Like you say, that explosiveness will come out of nowhere, and it's way more than a lot of people can handle. So
I don't know. I
huh?
don't know if I agree with that, man.
Ooh.
He's like I said, being an NFL caliber athlete. There's a level of explosiveness. Yeah, there's a level of athleticism and talent, but there's also a level of discipline. Like, because all of that comes.
No. I mean the MMA. I mean an MMA discipline. I didn't say he was undisciplined. He's coming in there.
If that's
He's disciplined until he explodes.
I would say there's no real MMA experience. There's no real traditional martial art experience. There's just freak athleticism mixed with just hurting people. Like, instead of tackling him, you get to punch him now. Like, I mean, you just don't have helmets.
Well, you can tackle him too.
Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah. But like, aside from that fight, I mean, I guess to end that one off is like I said, I will watch Greg Hardy fight until he loses because I really want to see him lose and I want to see him get knocked out. Now, I don't want to just see him lose. I want to see him get knocked. I want to see him get like definitively beaten, even if that means he has to go fight for the championship against Ngannou or Stipe or.
But that's the crazy part. That's the crazy part. I just told you he could beat Ngannou. I just told you that. All you need to do is take his punch. Because Ngannou,
I don't think he could beat Stipe. I don't think he could beat John Jones. I think Alistair Overeem would be able to beat him too. I think he's just good enough, with takedown defense stuff. I think Rose.
I think all those guys could beat him.
I think there's a couple guys that would be able to stop him before he got to that point. But that's the thing, like, if this guy, Marcin Tybura, doesn't beat Hardy this time around, I think it's time for the UFC to start giving him those money fights. You know what I mean? I really do. And it sucks because I don't want him to have it. But right now, I want to see that guy. I want to see that guy get his comeuppance.
I hear you. It's just, it is what it is. This is this dude's profession. This is his livelihood. He's actually thriving in it. And that's, besides the personal stuff. I mean, we all know the personal stuff. It's just, hey, this is what he does. And if he's excelling in it, what you have to do is just move the guy up. And this is definitely a big fight for him. I just looked at the co-main event, and I think the Greg Hardy fight should be a co-main event. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, if you're listening, you just a gatekeeper. Get the fuck out of the game, straight up. I'm sick of seeing your fucking name. You should have beat Woodley. You didn't beat him. Get out of here. Garbage. That's a junk fucking fight. He's junk. Pure unadulterated trash. I don't give a fuck how much of a fucking athlete he is. I'm sick of seeing it. He's not. Let me put it to you like this. If I see his name versus a champion, I don't want to see that championship fight. He's proven to me just how good he is when he fought Woodley. That's cool. So here's the problem with that. Since he didn't beat Woodley twice, he goes down as Woodley goes down. He would have to do some impressive and amazing stuff to catch my eye and for him not to be trash. Now, that's all opinion. Just saying. But, I think you got something to say about that. Go ahead.
I mean, I'll put it to you this way, man. If this was like a UFC, 260 or something like that, like, if this was one of those types of, pay-per-views, then, PPVs, pay-per-views, whatever we want to call it. But if it was one of those types of things, then I would say, all right, you have to have more of a hierarchy. But honestly, dude, since this is, scheduled to be a UFC fight night, like, it's pretty free if you already have ESPN Plus, like, whatever, like.
So bro, listen.
Hold on.
Jose, look how low Jose Aldo is.
Hold on. Jesus. I was just about to bring up Jose Aldo and everyone else. If this was like I said, if this was like a UFC pay-per-view event, I could see ordering it a different way. But since it's a fight night, it's basically one big, main event is the big, draw of it, which is the Kimev versus Leon Edwards. Nothing else matters. The whole card is perfect because we're getting to see Aldo, Vera, Spawn, Marias, Font, Hardy, Thompson, Jeff Neal. And that's all on the main card underwise. Like, there's something to watch in every single fight on that. And it's at the very worst, $5.99.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Here's the biggest problem, to be honest. That's after UFC 256. That's after Charles Oliveira and Tony Ferguson. That fight, the card you brought up is on December 19th, man. Like, what?
That's what
that should be today. It should be an appetizer because that is something to whet the appetites of MMA fans everywhere. That's why we're talking about it. So, I know you skipped ahead of that card. I'm kind of surprised.
Okay, so I'll send you a screenshot. I was looking at 256 and it has Figueiredo Moreno, but I saw Figueiredo and I was like, well, he just fought, and I forgot that he's going to fight so soon on the turnaround. So
no, it's all good. It's all good. But That
yeah,
fight
I
night,
did skip
that
ahead a
fight
little bit
night's
far.
right after 256, and that's it's not kind of stupid. It's fucking ridiculous. That fight night should be like tonight. You know, they don't space these things out well. They
Well,
don't.
here's the thing. I
It's
don't
not
care
that the
about.
card's bad. It's a great card.
I think
Yeah.
I even said going into the talk I just had, like I don't care about the other fight nights, like Smith versus Clark or Hermanson Holland. No, do I think they could have like be good fights? Sure. Will I watch them if I remember? But like I'm waiting for them to do
Clark's
something
today.
so
Smith
they're a
versus
little bit
Clark's
more so they're a little bit more relevant. You know, like there's nothing relevant until 256 and then ultimately Edwards Kaimev on that UFC fight night.
Yeah.
But dude,
That's
I read that all wrong. We need to talk about UFC 256. Oh boy, what did
Yeah.
I
Hold
tell
on.
you?
I want to get to this kid, man, Edwards real quick, since
Okay,
we touched on.
I just wanted before that. What did I tell you about Chuck Oliveira? He was going to get a big fight.
You did.
So
Well,
go on.
I saw that coming. Well,
Cosmot.
Hold on. What are they're not in the same division? Give me a minute. They're not in the same division, correct?
No.
Okay. I'm thinking. I always get confused on that. And Wonder Boy is one of Wonder Boy and Woodley always confuse me for some reason.
They're all welterweights.
I know. I get so confused when that happens. Right. Leon Edwards and Kamev are welterweight.
No. Wait, yes.
They are. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Remember, because Masvidal is welterweight, and he was supposed to fight Edwards. He was the one who gave the three pieces of silver, right?
Right. So yeah, that's where my confusion was. And I would, no, they're lightweights. Right. Sorry. Well, yeah, because I thought maybe it tied in, but like, here's my point about. I'm glad that Kamev got the main event. He absolutely deserved it. Edwards absolutely deserves it too.
Yes.
Now it's going to say a lot about both of them. It's going to say less about Edwards if he wins, and that's weird. But it'd be cool that he could stop a guy from knocking him out. But I think all he can do is stop him from knocking him out. And that's not gonna. It's gonna be like, okay, cool. You can sit, you can lay and pray. You can sit on the hands the whole fight. So it's cool for Edwards, but at the same time, I want to see him move. I want to see him move a little bit differently, only because I think this fight might expose him. Once he's exposed, I mean, because the UFC isn't high on this guy. And once he's exposed, I think it's over with. He's going to be this Wonder Boy Thompson of the division. So, because what's Wonder Boy fighting for? I don't know what he's fighting for. He's not going to see a title shot at all.
It's from the Wonder Boy Neal fight really quick. I didn't really get to say much about that. Wonder Boy Neal, basically that's if Jeff Neal beats Wonder Boy, then Jeff Neal looks really good. If Wonder Boy beats Neal, he kind of stays in the same spot.
Yeah, and that's my
like you said, he lost to Woodley twice. He's already, I mean, he's got to make his way back.
He lost. Yeah, and it's not. It just that's what the cookie crumbles sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's like if you lose in the NFC East, right? You lose one game and you're at the bottom, or you could win one and you're at the top. That don't mean you're very good though. It just means that you could stay in the same place. It's just shitty no matter what. So. Basically, Wonder Boy Thompson is in the NFC East.
So he's the Redskins, who's better than he looks, but still his record doesn't show it.
Who's skins? That's not a team.
Whatever, the Washington.
I'm joking. It doesn't matter who he is.
So here's the thing about the Edwards Kaimev fight. Even if Leon Edwards knocks him out in 7 seconds. It doesn't matter because he was so low ranked anyway, and Leon Edwards was like number 3, so like this fight's awesome because like the potential of it being such a good fight, or of Kaimev, coming out of nowhere and being like, no, like I am the next big thing, sort of like deal. That's cool, but like if we're gonna go where Kaimev is technically ranked versus what Edwards should be, ranked, like I honestly think Edwards should have had a title shot a while back. You know,
Yeah,
I think
no,
should have
he
been
should be
right there.
right. I
So
was gonna
he's
say
right
that
there.
too.
He's got something to prove, and he stayed hungry.
I put him
This
over
might be
Masvidal
like a
right
really bad fight for Kaimev, but on the other side of it, if Kaimev wins this, then okay, yes, put him in the top 5. Go for it. You know what I mean? He's obviously beating Leon Edwards. Give him
now.
Masvidal next. That'd be a great fight for him next. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
and
Like I'm just spitballing.
Jorge
But like,
Masvidal would have to really, really just go at him because if he lost that fight, that's kind of it. I
I
don't see him getting back into the rotation of the title shot without a really good string of really good wins, But he'd
I
have to go
just
through guys like Thompson and Woodley, and they would just keep him on the ground. Woodley would just keep him on the ground. I think they can negate a lot of what he does. So you don't want to be there if
I
you're.
just I think if you're Leon Edwards, this may be a lucrative fight for you, but I don't think it's a good fight for you in terms of like a
It's
career
not.
path. Like you don't
That's what I'm
need
saying.
to fight Kai Mev to prove that you're a title worthy contender. Like you've done
Exactly.
enough. Like I want to see the Masvidal fight. I want to see him fight somebody else. I want to see him fight Usman.
He
Honestly,
should have
like I
held
want to
out.
see him fight
He should have.
Covington. Like.
He should have held out, bro. He literally should have held out and fought a former champion. He
But
should have.
that's why I think Kaimev doesn't really understand what kind of level he's about to face. Because yeah, like he broke into the top
But that's
15,
good.
right?
Yeah,
Well,
but like
hold on,
that's why
hold
he
on,
could take
hold on,
he
hold
could
on.
take the loss. He will take the loss more than likely. I'm gonna be honest. Like
Well,
Edwards is just gonna ground him, and that is it. That's what happens when you face somebody at such a higher level. Now, if we know Kaimev got hands, but he didn't knock out nobody like Edwards. And Edwards is not like Edwards can't do anything standing up. He's gonna have to be really savvy and really good and actually show a straight up veteran something they've never seen before in order to knock him out. The likelihood of that is is astronomically low.
well, and that's kind of the thing too. Is like, I mean, Edwards has everything to lose and not a lot to gain. Because like, if he beats Kaimev, like he should have. Because I mean, you can break into the top 15 and that's great. But like, Edwards broke the top 3. Like, you
And
know,
that's why I was saying I want to see him go on a different path. I want
yeah.
to see him fight someone else because he doesn't need to do this. And if he loses his fight, which he fucking could easily, with just one punch, he's done. He's
Yeah.
going to get Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah.
And that's the UFC will just see you. This happens. It happens in combat sports all the time. It's just combat sports too, man. Because
Yeah.
because they make
Right.
the matchups and they book. They don't have real. It's not like like it's not like baseball or they don't have divisions and shit like. I mean, they do. You know what I mean? It's not the same.
They don't
type
have a
of competition.
schedule.
Right. So they're booked, meaning they could just be chosen not to be chosen. So. And
Well,
then
even like we've seen with so many fighters before, like how many fighters besides Leon Edwards have been denied title shots because they're not exciting? Like, why do you think Colby Covington became the fighter he is? And he even said it himself because he almost got cut even though he hadn't lost because he wasn't exciting. It's
Yeah.
like you need to have some sort of an edge or personality or something that you like flashy that you bring to the table. Like I would say Anderson Silva, probably one of the most boring greatest champions of all time. Like, but at the same time, in terms of what he did in the cage, fucking exciting,
very
right?
flashy. Yeah.
Very flashy, but like when you talk to him, he's always either being, overly humble or doesn't really say much. And then Chael Sonnen kind of got a rise out of him, and that was one of the most lucrative fights in history, man.
Yeah.
Like even the rematch was good when Anderson Silva just had enough of it and beat the god out of him. But like that first fight was so worth the second fight. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, and that's
like,
the problem.
I want to see champions, fight the next best guy, and I want to see the next best guy be a champion level opponent.
Yeah, and that's where right, and that's where Edwards he's right in that conversation. And the problem is Edwards is going to end up being he's a boring guy, and Masvidal slapped him like a bitch backstage, straight up. He straight slapped
Hey,
like a
you're,
bitch.
you're the one of the two of us that would know on the street if you're Edwards. Do you have any credibility, even with your like?
Hell no. Everybody know he ain't got no street cred. And I'm gonna be real with you. That's why he's fighting Command. Because he has to earn it back from somebody that'll just knock him out. This is the closest opponent he can have to Masvidal without fighting Masvidal. So
Yeah,
I get it from Edwards. He's like, if I fight this guy, Masvidal doesn't really have a chance against me, because this is me basically fighting a young, an easier Masvidal. I get it. That's cool. I
right.
understand his rationale in it. It's just a dumbass fight to take. You don't fight a knockout artist, and a young knockout artist. We don't even know what the hell he actually does. The knockouts might not even be his thing. Like seriously, like with
No, I got you.
the guy that fought not Henderson, the guy that fought GSP and made him quit, made him retire.
Oh, Johnny Hendricks.
Hendricks, right? I was gonna say Hendricks.
Weird how
Hendricks.
that's the guy that came to mind when that was one of the most debatable fights in GSP's career.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. There's not a lot of guys to reference.
No, he quit. See that's what brings us back full circle.
He didn't quit, man. He fucking he gutted it out.
You know what I mean? He did. I mean,
he proceeded into he pulled a Yoda. He just left. Like
it's out. I must go. Well, no, it makes sense though because he took an ass whooping.
That wasn't bad, actually, bro.
He took an ass whooping. He took a lot of big shots. Like, well, I say he lost the fight. He actually didn't. Yeah.
Hey. If you ever want to do your Yoda impression while I do my Conor McGregor impression, I think we might get a pretty good reaction from that.
I might think about it.
Sure, you don't want to do your Yoda impression. Are you sure you don't want to, boyo?
No, we can't. We can't turn it into cartoon characters, bro. It's gonna turn into Saturday morning cartoons. Because I got other ones. Man. I do a good gingerbread man too.
But here's the thing, though, man. Like I'm looking at the rankings. So you got Wonder Boy at 5, and you got Neil at 11. And you got Kaimev
Neil's at what? Neil's at what?
Neil's at 11.
Ooh.
And then you got Kaimev at 15 and Edwards at 3. Okay, so that's a weird sort of setup, right? I mean, but then you got
kind of. But when you look at where Wonder Boy is, like it's kind of positioned to where those people can kind of move around. That makes more sense, a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Still not individually, but like when you look at the overall picture, you can kind of do some things depending on who loses what.
Well, you know what would be a good fight, and it would also kind of like humble the rankings difference that Kaimev Edwards have is like since they're 15 versus 3, if Kaimev beats Edwards, why not fight somebody in the middle like Neil Magny or Vicente Luque? Maybe Michael Chiesa.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think he has to. Because he jumped so much, is you have to go back anyway. Like
even if you ranked him above those guys, I still think it would make sense.
You're right.
To fight them. You know what I mean?
Because it's who he needs to fight. It's not just the rankings; it's who he needs to fight. Like I had a lot of issue with who Conor McGregor fought because I was like, no, he needs to fight this person and that person. And it was like, no, just move him along. I was like, okay, you're cheating. You just want this guy not cheating. You know what I mean? You're just stacking the deck. You just want Conor to get the belts, and then you need to make him defend them. Yeah. I think he could have defended him, but the problem was they never put him up against people that could actually beat him. And with Kaimev, you need to put him up against people that can actually beat him.
Yeah.
And in the case, and it's the crazy part, like, we think that, do you think Edwards is going to win this? I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah. I think it pretty easily, too, just in the way we describe, or I describe, whatever. But so he's not facing somebody that can beat him, and that's a problem. It's not really facing anyone that can really beat him. When he beats him super easily, we're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, what were you doing? And now he's not, I don't know how he moved. Sure, he can fight Masvidal, but like, that's not for a title. And I would think at that point, Masvidal's kind of beneath him. Like, Masvidal needs to work a little. I get it. Now, you can say whatever you want about the full camp and stuff, but he did have a title shot, though. And we have to look at that.
You still have to have your money fights.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I think it's better
fights and money fights. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone. Conor McGregor. Like,
have him fight for the title, and then have him fight Masvidal afterwards. That's it. That's pretty simple to me. If he doesn't win the title, he still has to fight Masvidal. Whatever, you know. That's his consolation prize. And if he wins the title, guess what? Prove you a man and put it up against the dude that bitch slapped you in the backstage. That's perfect. That's expert booking to me.
Yep.
You know, but this fight, he can't get to the title fight if he loses this though. It's highly unlikely he will, but damn, you just set this dude up to fail. I mean, but they don't care. That's why that's the crazy thing about booking. Like, they don't care about that. They don't care about Edwards because he don't have no damn street cred and they can't manage him. I mean, they can't, market him because he's boring as fuck. Like, have you ever heard him talk? Just looking at him makes me tired.
Yeah.
Like, I get sleepy eyes just looking. He looks sleepy. I'm like, damn. Anyway, he do though. Okay. We talked enough about him. He got so much of our time.
But I mean, honestly, man, like, at least we gave him the time because the UFC definitely hasn't.
Right, and he absolutely has worked for that and deserves it. Because I was kind of bitching while he was moving up the ranks, like, man, this dude is like, he's boring and stuff like that. But like, I'm like, whatever. He felt like Neil Magny to me.
I'll put it to you this way: you win enough consecutive games, then you get a Super Bowl, right? Like,
sure,
like that's
sure.
the thing.
Yeah.
Is like, at a certain point,
you can get
winning enough fights means you get a title. Like, it doesn't matter how you do it or why you do it. At a certain point,
right.
Like, you win fights, you win fights. You know, like,
exactly. And that's where their booking becomes straight bullshit. And I'm like, well, come on, man, just fucking book this guy for a title fight. Like you said, he earned it a while ago. And we saw it. He actually earned it back when Masvidal was slapped him. Like, he
that was like
fight.
the fight that he had actually earned a title shot. And then Masvidal slapped him, and it was like, oh, that's funny. Like, let's give him a title shot instead. It's the worst thing in the world.
yeah, but it's crazy because that happened. That didn't happen in the cage. I get it. He might be bitch made, but like, you still gotta let him get. He still fought for what he still earned what he fought for, man. You know, so give it. But let's get into the
UFC 256.
Yeah.
Okay, so number one, I have to tell you that Deiveson Figueiredo was everything that I told you he would be and more, and he's about to do it against Brandon Moreno. So there you go. That's exciting to watch, and all of you should be excited for him. And I thought it was hilarious because I didn't even make the parallel or the correlation or whatever.
Very careful.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't make the connection of, like, I momentarily forgot that Henry Cejudo said that he had saved the flyweight division, and then he went on to fight, bantamweight and whatever. But okay, but here's the thing. Deiveson Figueiredo is way more exciting than Henry Cejudo ever was.
Sure, but if Cejudo loses to Mighty Mouse, that division's over. And that's why it's kind of weird. Like,
it wasn't even.
He didn't win that fight to me, but
but it wasn't even. It wasn't even not over when he beat Mighty Mouse. Like, it was still like, all right, well, like, I think it's still kind of over. You know what I mean? Like, it's not there. And then you watch the new blood of that division. Once Figueiredo beat Benavidez, arguably twice, that division got more exciting because, like, all right, it's not going to be the same guys just owning this division anymore. There's new talent, bringing like, even Brandon Moreno is exciting.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, this ain't just a straight up walk in the park.
This is gonna be a fun fight. Like, I think it's a good one, and I think that
the walk in the park for Figueiredo. That's why I'm saying he needs to fucking fight. I feel like he's a little bit arrogant, and I'm like, hey man, calm down. Like, you're not Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse was fucking destroy this guy.
I forgot his name. He was my boy. Who did Moreno just beat in the last card? I forgot.
No, I forget too, but yes.
Let me. No. Yeah. I'll look it up because.
While you looking that up, Figueiredo, I like him.
Brandon Royval. That was my boy, Brandon Royval.
That was a great fight. That was a pretty good fight.
Yeah, I still have a lot of hope for Royval, but those three fighters.
That was a great fight for him. He didn't lose any.
The three of those guys, Figueiredo, Moreno, and Royval, are all exciting fighters for that division. And I'll trade Henry Cejudo and Joseph Benavidez, I'll trade him for those three for sure.
Sure, I'd do that. But you know who I wouldn't trade him for? The Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse was a far more exciting fighter too.
But we already saw what Mighty Mouse was going to do. What is he going to do? Keep beating these guys? What if he just kept beating Figueiredo and Moreno?
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
I get that, but like, here's the thing: we're crowning Figueiredo. He's champ. That's cool, but we all know he's only champ because the guy who they couldn't beat got traded, and then he got cheated out of that fight. If we being for real, like Cejudo didn't do anything to fucking beat him, but whatever. They removed him. That's what they wanted because they couldn't market him because they felt he was boring or something. The guy that did a rock bottom into an armbar was boring to them. I was like, wow. The guy that has a Twitch channel and everything. It's like whatever.
One of the most dominant human beings to ever step in a cage.
Yeah, he's one of the GOATs. Yep.
And people just were like, "What else you got?" And it was just like people like Brock Lesnar, dude. Like the guy's not that good of a fighter. He's just gigantic and scary and very strong. And he used to be really good at wrestling. Like. He's not scary though, but Mighty Mouse was perfect in every aspect of the sport, and people did not give a shit.
The right people didn't give a shit because he has
which is most people.
Because all the casuals, not us though, we know better. Like there are people who like, no, Mighty Mouse is to go. Mighty Mouse cleaned out that division how many times? Like Cejudo got his ass whooped. He got his ass whooped. He didn't know what he ran into a buzzsaw. And had no idea what he was doing.
And I don't know how long he lost that second fight, but
he did lose, man.
I rewatched the whole thing, and that's one of the benefits of ESPN Plus. But that's like
we're not sponsored by them, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. I want people to like.
No, I like that. You need to be ESPN Plus if you're listening.
Yeah, dude, come and sponsor us, man. But honestly, like that's one of the benefits. But like I got to watch that whole fight over again, and I don't know how Mighty Mouse lost that fight. I really don't understand.
He did lose it. You know why they say he lost?
No, he did. And that's why I don't understand it.
No, right. Because he looked because Cejudo kept him on his toes more than anybody else did. That's it. You know, but that's crazy. If we go by that. You know who else I'm going to say lost? That's the same.
Hey, it's the same guy that benefited from that decision against Mighty Mouse. You know why? Because people looked at that decision and they were like, well, that was a terrible decision. We shouldn't have just taken his title away when he debatably lost a fight. John Jones has gotten away with losses after that really were counted as wins. I mean,
yes.
Arguably the Thiago Santos fight, arguably. And then you have the.
Why are you saying this?
No, because I'm realistic with the arguments. I'm not saying what I believe. I'm saying with the arguments. Like there's the argument that he lost both of those fucking fights back to back.
Exactly.
Maybe the Gustafsson fight, the first one, he maybe lost that one. Like,
yeah, but it's weird. It's a toss-up because you can only keep one like school of thought, right? And I think the Gustafsson one kind of falls outside of that one because you could say he won that fight. It's very close, but I could say at the end of the fifth round, Gustafsson was on the ground, and that round goes to John Jones. I know where Gustafsson supposedly lost that fight, if he lost it, right? I can throw that one out. But the other two, I can't throw them out.
And what it comes down to with the Jones Sanchez fight was like basically if you count the significant strikes,
he was carried out in that fight too.
Say what?
He was carried out of the octagon of that fight. That's kind of and the other it's kind of weird. Like that's the damage that was done to his body. Was he a man? Stood up, tall, everything, all while he fought? Yes. He was not on crutches, but he was carried out of that fight, out of that octagon, man.
Well, and that's the thing is like I said, if you count the significant strikes, in terms of damage done, not how many, but just damage done. That's the first time we saw John Jones kind of get beaten up, but I still think he won.
Shogun took him. Shogun, although Shogun lost, yes, Shogun.
Well, Machida did too. They all
roughed
took
him
different heights, but
Shogun roughed him up.
Yeah, well, and so did Machida. He even got some good licks in and everything. But at the same time, like we haven't really seen anyone land those kind of like haymakers,
Yeah.
on John. And like John Jones was kicking him, and that's kind of why he had to get helped out of the fucking arena, was because he was kicking him, and it was like usually that damage that he caused with those kicks wasn't happening as fast, with Santos. But then you go to the Reyes fight, and honestly, what it comes down to in that fight is what do you think about the third round? And honestly, we can debate that until we're horse in the face. In my humble, honest opinion, if I was gonna be a judge in that fight, John Jones edged out that third round. He was the more active, aggressive fighter in that third round.
I would say it's splitting hairs to do that, for me to just argue that he didn't, because I mean, like you say, it's your opinion, so
it's not
I can't say you're wrong. I don't want to say you're wrong.
No, because it's not a right or wrong thing. It's an opinion matter,
right?
Sense, but at the end of the day, John Jones did win. But if I was gonna relent for a second and be like, because I really do, that's one of the most perplexing fights in history because of that third round. Because Dominic Reyes was landing every counterpunch available.
I had him 4 rounds to 1 though, so
that's
I didn't say
that's insane.
I didn't say how much. I didn't say how much he lost by. I didn't say he's. Here's the thing: if I got him 4 rounds to 1, did I say he kicked his ass? I say he could. He only has to be 1 strike better.
That is
round.
insane.
Think about it though. Think about it.
It's insane.
You're thinking about the gap between it. So if I said he was 4 punches better than him in that fight, would you argue that? Would you say no? I don't know about 4 punches. Like if I just said he was just 4 punches better.
If you're going to relegate those 4 punches to dictating a 4 rounds to 1 decision in that particular fight, then absolutely, I'd still say you're insane. Absolutely.
So if he beats him by 1 significant strike in the first 4 rounds, I mean, it's the same.
I don't think that's what it comes down to. I don't think it comes down to 1 punch, and I don't think it did.
I mean, that's fine, and that's fair. That's fair. I'm saying even if for me, it wasn't that close at all. I think he kicked his ass, and it showed. I think the only round he decisively won was the 5th, and that's because Reyes was gassed straight up. Now I saw Reyes gassed in the 3rd. I did a little gas. I saw him show signs of fatigue. And I saw Jones be the aggressor. And I also saw Jones get hit with a significant strike, a couple of them, and he backed the fuck up, and he was no longer the aggressor. He was only holding ground. Big difference to me. But that's to me. But like what we were talking about was Figueiredo in the flyweight division. And we said, and what we were really talking about was the fact that, Mighty Mouse would have straight up been kicking everybody's ass if he was still in there. But you believe Figueiredo? You truly believe Figueiredo saved the division?
Yes.
I'm not gonna, like I say, I'm not. I don't feel so. I don't feel strongly that he didn't.
I think
he's definitely he helped a lot.
I think he's every bit as exciting as Mighty Mouse, and I think he talks just enough. Like he doesn't talk as much as Cejudo, but he does talk more than Mighty Mouse.
He's exciting. He'll never be a Mighty Mouse. He'll never be exciting as Mighty Mouse. He has to do a rock.
I'm saying in terms of like when you watch him fight,
sure. Okay, yeah, my bad. Well, yeah,
that's what I mean. Like I'm not saying like when I look at him, like no, dude, like Mighty Mouse, I'm gonna watch that fight every time. I want to see what he wants.
Okay, right. I'm like, nah, dude. I'm like, don't put him. No.
I'm saying in terms of like
even now, I think Mighty Mouse would fucking he would destroy him. It would look bad, really bad.
And that's something that I would even meet you and say, yeah, I would take Mighty Mouse too. Okay. But per what the situation,
I want him to calm down. Figueiredo's acting like he's this. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say per the situation, since the last real champion of that division was Henry Cejudo. Let's look at everything that Mighty Mouse and Henry Cejudo were. You got Mighty Mouse, who was the quiet goat. You know what I mean? Which if you're not a loud goat, then who's going to hear you? Who's going to notice you?
Right.
But then you got Cejudo, who was a sheep acting like he was the goat. And I will never, ever in any tangible argument that I can ever take seriously put Henry Cejudo in the GOAT conversation. I will put him in a very, very good fighter talk, but I'm not gonna.
He's just outside of it.
With GSP and Khabib and John Jones and Daniel Cormier and guys like that. No, not even. No, don't even come at me.
Yeah, no. You're right.
I don't want to hear about Henry Cejudo being champ, triple champ, quadruple champ, all gender champ. I don't want to fucking hear about it. He's dumb, and he's a good fighter. He has good talent and athleticism. He's very decorated, but he is such a clown. It makes me crazy that people even want to throw him in there and argue.
He's not even that much of a clown. He understands he needs to do something to maintain some sort of relevancy, and that's because.
But what he was doing, in my opinion,
I get it. Yes, no, you're right. I know he was being a clown. Yeah, I get it.
It's not even about being a clown. I just don't think it was working. Like, I don't think he drew.
But it did. It did work. He became champ because he lobbied for those fights. It's not just what he did in the cage. It's because he was a bit of a character. He may not have drawn the money, but he drew the attention of the bookers, and he got it. So it worked. But yeah, I'm with you on that.
That doesn't make sense. If he's not drawing the money and he's drawing the bookers, I mean, like, as long as the money's not being made, it's still a problem. But at the same
time, but you still got to fight, though. It's still a fight to be made. He was the fight to be made.
The only exciting thing Henry Cejudo ever did was fight TJ Dillashaw, and that was because he was fighting TJ Dillashaw. That wasn't because he was Cejudo. That's because Dillashaw was coming down to beat him and then lost in, like, kind of a weird way. Like,
no, he lost. He was just fit to get his ass killed.
And whatever. I'm not going to go into that. But we're talking about we're talking about the flyweight division being saved. And I'm saying that in terms of, like, actuality, Cejudo didn't do anything for the flyweight division when he left the flyweight division. Like, when he went to go be champ, that defeated his whole point of even being who he was to start out.
I get it. He left it vulnerable. He did. I get it. I get everything you said. My point was, if Mighty Mouse had kept it, now Cejudo was a guy that if Mighty Mouse had lost it, let's say to TJ Dillashaw, because that's who they wanted him to fight, then it would have been over. TJ Dillashaw is a company guy. All they wanted to do was get rid of the flyweight division. The problem was they had these good fighters come up, and you know they just held up their own. They just held up the division. So to be fair, is everybody there that's been doing their job, winning fights and looking good doing it, making a name for the division. So I don't want to attribute it to one person. However, I'm saying the person who took it off of took that title off of Mighty Mouse was the right person to do it, because Dillashaw was not gonna, Dillashaw wanted it. He's a company dude. If Dana White say I wanted the flyweight division gone, sure, it was gonna be gone. He went down there to go and kill that division. Henry Cejudo did not. He did not win that title to kill that division, and by doing so, he kept it alive. Now I might be being very technical about it, but that's what happened.
You're making a humbling point, and that it's a good point. But at the same time, when you do that and then you leave,
I get that.
That doesn't make sense.
Like, right.
Like you need Dillashaw, and I think Dillashaw, when he came down to 125, you don't need to fight him at 135 to take his title. You know what I mean? That's cool and everything, but you need the 45 to come down. You need there to be new blood. You need to establish yourself like Mighty Mouse did, right, but make it more vocal.
But he did that though. And here's the thing.
No, after he left the division,
I think Figueiredo wouldn't have beat him. Figueiredo would have got his ass knocked out.
No. Right now.
That might be right now.
No,
he's the thing. That's right now though. Right then, if he had fought Henry Cejudo would have knocked him the fuck out.
Figueiredo is a lot tougher than anyone that Cejudo's fought.
I'm not saying he wasn't tough. We talking about MMA. We didn't saw tough motherfuckers get knocked out. I saw Rich Franklin get knocked out twice.
That's the thing that I think we don't see, because whereas Figueiredo may lose to Mighty Mouse because Mighty Mouse is that good, and Cejudo technically beat Mighty Mouse.
Cejudo's only slightly. He's not. Listen, Cejudo is not as good as Mighty Mouse. However, that doesn't mean that he's going to lose to anyone else. that Mighty Mouse would beat. Like, no, listen, it's Mighty Mouse and Cejudo, and there's no one really close to them. I'm going to be for real with you.
Hey, I'm just saying from what I've seen in their stand-up, Henry Cejudo is really, really quick, and that's really good for him. But when it comes to Figueiredo, he's every bit as quick, but he's also so much more technical that Henry Cejudo leaves himself open, whereas like Dillashaw is the same fighter as Cejudo without.
Nah, man, no. Listen, even to be as good to just be in the octagon for 5 rounds with Mighty Mouse is a lot. Figueiredo would not last 5 rounds with him.
Well, you can say that, but he's never had the chance, so you don't.
I can say that because he would get the fucking chance. He wouldn't, because the first person he'd have to fight would be Henry Cejudo anyway, and he'd lose.
He would win that fight. If we're gonna go hypothetical, he absolutely would. He'd knock his fucking pretty face off.
Listen, 2 people cleaned out that division. Cejudo did clean up. He batted clean up for Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse cleaned that bitch out, including him. Cejudo cleaned it up.
You say 2 people cleaned out a division. Figueiredo has cleaned out that division the same way.
He's not
bad. There's 3 people. Listen,
but here's the thing. I'm not saying Figueiredo's bad at all. I'm saying he's underneath Cejudo. I'm saying if we're talking real shit.
Not. He's the champion.
Cejudo's not even
retired.
Yeah, I know that. I get that. I'm saying, like, here's the thing. Had these guys not retired, I mean, well, I know.
No, don't do that. No.
We
still have the Tony Ferguson, Charles Oliveira fight to talk about.
Okay, we will. Listen.
We get into existential what ifs some other time, but
it's not fair. It's
Henry
not fair.
Cejudo retired. Henry Cejudo's done. He's not coming back. Deiveson Figueiredo is the best in the division right now. And until they fight, it's just that way.
I think he needs to calm down a bit. He isn't. I think he needs to earn a little bit more. Remember,
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Listen,
I'm just saying now,
I'm not talking
to you.
Retired. I'm talking to Figueiredo. Somebody had to drop the title in order for you to get it. I guarantee you wouldn't have taken that belt off him. We'd have got your ass dropped, knocked the fuck out, just like everybody else. The only person that wasn't getting knocked the fuck out was Mighty Mouse. Anybody else, that's it. Knock the fuck out. I guarantee you. That's what happens. And I know you say he's fast, but he's powerful. He is so strong. That's how he got his first title shot. He just knocked everybody out. And he was a damn wrestler. That's what I was talking about with Kamev. I was like, we don't even know what he could do. He's just knocking people out yet. Then we saw what Henry Cejudo could do once he balanced his game out. You know, I'm hoping Kamev can do something like that. But I digress.
Well, if Figueiredo and Cejudo ever fight, you and I will be watching that together. So,
but you know what? He has to get past Moreno because I'm not so sure that he will.
That's a good fight.
I think he will, but like, come on, man.
I think he will, but that's a good fight. Even that Perez fight was a little close.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing, man. Like, you know, I think that some champs get blinders on. You know, I think when certain, you know, you just in the zone, man, and you know, every title fights can be like a trap game. You know what I mean? Like, I was saying Chukagian against Shevchenko was like a trap game. I was saying that. Like, sure, it wasn't that. You know, she got dominated, but I say it was a trap game or a trap fight because you're still fighting a professional. Like, if somebody's got the tools, like on to steal from the NFL again on any given Sunday, or in this case, any given Saturday, you can get knocked out, man. You know, like, take this fight seriously. Don't come in here with these fancy suits on and shit. You know, like, calm down. You are not you're not the previous champions. Do not go in there thinking you are. And be flashy, market yourself. But I'm gonna be real with you. Like, you ain't the 2 previous champs, bro. Like, they had to give you a chance. You know, like, let's just be for real. You got gifted a chance to be where you are, and you need to get past Brandon Moreno now with very, very quickly. To be honest, I think he needs to beat him very, very decisively. I don't think it needs to be close.
Take Figueiredo, and you can take Moreno, and I will be expecting your apology afterwards.
All right. Okay.
But
I might be apologizing. He might get his ass
I
stomped down.
I gotta go pretty soon. But I want to talk about the Ferguson Oliveira fight.
Yes. Don't ever say you have to go on a podcast. Don't tell people we got
No,
time constraints.
no, my friend. It is very pressing business.
Shut up. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I got to acknowledge the rest of that main card on that UFC 56 is good. You got Moicano versus Fitsev. You got Junior Dos Santos versus Cyril Gain, and you have a maybe heavyweight fight, a maybe, or
Yes,
they're probably going to replace it. But then you got Tony Ferguson, Charles Oliveira, which, dude, I told you Oliveira was due for a top opponent, man, and here he goes. So
I couldn't see it because like some people. Yeah. No, and I'm picking him too because I think Tony Ferguson is done.
Don't keep picking the same people. God damn it.
No. Listen, I think that Charles Oliveira can get knocked the fuck out. I do. There's a way if Tony Ferguson wins, I wouldn't be surprised.
It would have to be on because it's not going to be on the ground. The second it hits the ground,
no, not at all. But I think the way he lost exposed him quite a bit. Now don't get me wrong. It's not that he's
so technical.
Yes, and I think that when you get beat up in a fight, the whole world saw this shit. So the problem is someone who's a technical striker is going to come in there and do every single thing that the last guy did and better. And the reason they're gonna do it better because they got tape on it now. So there's no reason for me to pick Tony Ferguson. I don't give a fuck about the podcast or being at odds. Like, no, I'm not picking him. He's getting his ass whooped. I'm picking him to get his ass whooped. Because we know he can take an ass whoop too, so you don't have to rush to beat him. Justin Gaethje didn't, and that's the problem. You don't have to rush to beat Tony Ferguson. We all know it. Charles Oliveira knows it, and he's going to beat the hell out of him because of it. So,
and Tony Ferguson also showed too that like he's got his thing, but if you're a technical fighter and you can watch the tape and honestly like from what I saw with Oliveira, him and Justin Gaethje have a lot of the same stand-up tendencies. So I really see I see Tony Ferguson. I see Tony Ferguson getting outpointed on the feet, and I see it getting to the point where it's just going to be an easy takedown for Oliveira, and he's either going to just TKO him or submit him. But like the second that thing hits the ground, no matter if Ferguson did the taking down or not, there's no way that he's not getting tapped. Or
I think he's going to get knocked out though. I don't think he'll want to go down. And
I hope so. I hope so for the best case scenario for Oliveira that he knocks him out, just so he can make even stronger case for his title shot. But just in terms
of his title shot after Ferguson.
Do what?
His title shot after Ferguson?
Fuck yeah! Are you kidding me? Because Ferguson's up for a title shot, right?
You know how the UFC play around with people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like they do. Like they play around with people. So. Like, look at we were just talking about Leon Edwards earlier. Like, they played around with him, and they played him. He should have had a title shot. So, yeah, I'm asking, like, Charles Oliveira, you was like, he was due. I think he was due a little.
Okay, well, here's 1 through 6 in the UFC rankings, and I'm not counting Khabib. You got Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor, Dan Hooker, and Charles Oliveira at 1 through 6, and that's in the exact order. So unless you want to see Dan Hooker and Charles Oliveira fight if he beats Tony Ferguson, which I don't, then you're looking at Charles Oliveira versus McGregor. You're looking at Charles Oliveira versus McGregor.
I'll never do that to McGregor.
Hold on. Yeah. You're looking at Oliveira versus McGregor or Poirier or Gaethje. And one of those guys is going to be the champion. So, yeah, title shot next.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Damn. I wish it was a little bit more depth right there. Not that don't get me wrong.
Unless they stiff him and give him either Dos Anjos or Hooker, then absolutely title shot. Next.
Here's the thing though.
Like, title or money shot. You know what I mean? Like title or money fight next, not money shot.
Yeah, don't say money
you don't want a money shot next.
We gotta go because you're nasty. You see how you ended the podcast because you're filthy.
No, but that was a great point I made, right? Like, it's a title shot next for my boy if he wins.
A money fight is a money shot, though.
It's a money fight or a title fight or both. Because, like, if McGregor wins and then Oliveira wins, sure, he may have to fight Poirier, Gaethje, whatever, but those are money fights for him, and they're good fights. So if he wins those, then dude, he's going to get McGregor, and that's a title and a money
I think
fight.
he should Poirier next, regardless.
I think Chuck Oliveira needs to win this fight so badly for his future. You know what I mean? Tony Ferguson can stand to lose it because he's already lost, but dude,
I think he's all right actually, because he could beat the guys. He could beat 1 through whatever he can. So he could afford to lose this one. Here's the thing about a loss, a signature loss. He'd be losing to Tony Ferguson. That's not a bad loss at all. And it'll kind of overshadow the fact that he lost. Like, we'll forget that he lost to Tony Ferguson. He'll just become, because Tony Ferguson's on his way out. You know what I mean? Like,
we won't forget it. It'll come up like John Jones's loss. It'll be like, who did he lose to? Matt Hamill? Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be like, who did he lose to? Tony Ferguson?
Forget about Tony Ferguson.
That was a really good fight. You know, like, or Tony Ferguson was right there. I don't. Yeah, right. No, you're right. You're right though.
Yeah, but so yes, he can't afford to lose because he could still just move right back up. Now, like he would have to fight bums. He'd have to fight Dos Anjos and Hooker. They might give him Hooker next if they don't want to straight give him. Sometimes they want something to play out a little bit different.
Like I said, if he beat Ferguson, if they wanted to stiff him, they can give him Dan Hooker. But at the same time, dude, if he beats Ferguson, I think he should go against the loser of Poirier McGregor. To be perfectly honest,
I think he should fight Poirier regardless.
Fair enough, because McGregor probably will stick around if he loses. That's fair.
Sure, and if Poirier wins, you say, oh, you know, he's gonna fight Gaethje. Well, no, I think he should fight Charles Oliveira. That'll get rid of that, right?
I don't disagree, man. I've been a Chuck Oliveira fan for a minute. You know that. That's podcast.
And I think it's okay to give. I know what that does for both of them. It's like, it's a fight before the title fight. It's like, why are you doing that? It's like, because you have 2 number 1 contenders and you want to see who's who. You want the best of them to win, and then you can just kind of play around with the guy that loses. You can just have him beat everybody else underneath him and then make that rematch. Because that rematch is coming regardless. But I think Poirier Oliveira is next. If not Hooker Oliveira, and then it most likely, I'm gonna be real with you, it's gonna be Hooker Oliveira, because that's what they put people in holding patterns, man. It's gonna be Hooker Oliveira, then it's gonna be Poirier Hooker. Dude, not Hooker. I'm sorry, Poirier Oliveira, and they'll ask for that fight for each other, and that person gets a title shot after that.
Hey, I'll be more real with you. Oliveira, even if he wins this fight, may have to tread more water, and he might be lucky to fight Dan Hooker, because he also would be a good match.
Yeah.
Dos Anjos or Kevin Lee if he wins more, or Benil if he keeps winning, or Diego Ferreira, Paul Felder if he wins again. Like, there's so many good fights for Charles Oliveira on a matchup level that like I really hope they don't make him tread water in that sort of a sense, to where, like, honestly, if he beats Tony Ferguson, in my opinion, he's title shot ready, because I've watched where he started and I see where he's at now. And honestly, one of the big milestones is, can you beat a top 3 opponent? If you beat Tony Ferguson, that's a top 3 opponent. Like,
no, I totally agree, but like they love their holding patterns and making people tread water. So that's really unfortunate. Like we said, they did it with Leon Edwards, and man, he'll never stop trading water if he loses this fight. But Charles Oliveira, he's okay actually, because they could just put him up against so many people. That's also the bad part about it. They could just put him up against so many people. So I'm rooting for him. Tony Ferguson doesn't have anything left. The only thing he really had was for real. The only thing keeping him together was that Khabib fight, and that's not gonna happen. So
for his career, that a lot was hinging on that Gaethje win. Like, so yeah.
It is what it is, man. That's really unfortunate. And I hate when we get down to those fights, because it's like, damn, you know, if you lose.
I didn't realize it at the time, but then, like, you know, you hear going into the fight, you know, he's like 37 or 36 at the time. Like, his next fight, he's going to be like 37 or 38 or whatever it is. Like, the clock's ticking on Tony Ferguson's career in total.
Yeah, man.
Know?
I mean, coming back up full circle, it's like, he's had wars, unlike Mike Tyson's been in big fights, you know what I'm saying? But like,
Yeah.
he ain't been beat up like Tony Ferguson been beat up. And when you get beat up like that in combat sports, your shelf life is significantly shortened. So,
Yeah.
Mike Tyson on his way back in, Tony Ferguson on his way out. Crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy how that happened. But take us home.
This has been Sporticus, and you have been sports entertained.
Sporticus is now on Patreon. We have 3 tiers: $1, $2, and $5. You can get things like bonus episodes, chat forums, polls and voting, live stream Q&As, monthly giveaways, and fan recognition. Become a patron today.